Good day traders, this is Stefanos on behalf of Tixee, and in today's webinar we'll be giving an outlook of the market for the week of the 4th until the 8th of July. Now looking at some of the highlights for next week, we'll be talking about AMD, who recently had a price upgrade, and on the FX front we'll of course have the NFP report coming out. Something else worth mentioning, which is not like a tradable event, is that of course the 4th of July is a public holiday in the US, which means that the US stock exchange is going to be closed. So as always, please note that all of the ideas discussed in this webinar are my own opinions and do not make up for any form of investment and trading advice, neither any recommendations to buy or sell. You should always do your own research and due diligence before buying or selling any securities, financial products or instruments, and whether you use any kind of trading strategy. Any information that relates to past performance is not indicative of future results. So, as we mentioned during the intro, AMD has been in the news on Friday after it was upgraded by Northland Capital, and it was upgraded with a rating from Market Perform to an Outperform rating. Now, we also saw during the look back that FedEx was downgraded, and we saw the kind of impact that had on the stock price on Friday. So this would definitely be some worthy news with the open. Again, this is going to be on Tuesday because the markets are going to be closed on Monday. Now, the price upgrade also definitely comes as a surprise. Seeing stocks being upgraded in this kind of environment is of course something that you wouldn't really expect, seeing as how we're just seeing stocks plummeting left and right. So the fact that AMD was upgraded is of course going to be something really positive for investors of AMD specifically. Now, while all of this is good news for AMD, the analysts, however, they did revise the price target lower from $97 down to $95. Now, of course, this isn't a huge difference. It's just a $2 difference, but we can see that on today, speaking about Friday, the stock price of AMD actually fell. So even though the news of an upgrade were positive, obviously until the market digests those kind of news, probably they reacted a little bit more on the revision of the price target lower. With that being said though, $95 is all the way up here, so we're going to be filling gaps along the way. So the first one being here, and then the second one is going to be around about the area of the price target itself. This news, obviously, I do expect them to increase volatility for AMD starting next week, and AMD is already a highly liquid and a very active stock on a daily basis. So this could obviously present investors of AMD with a pretty good opportunity to capitalize even further if they want to. But saying all of that, again, bear in mind that Monday is a public holiday in the US since it's the 4th of July, so the stock exchange will be closed, and obviously AMD won't be able to be traded if that's a stock that you're going to be having on your watch list. Next up, moving on to Forex. The big announcement for next week is of course going to be the NFP report, which is going to be released on the usual on Friday, and which is obviously going to be one of the most, if not the most important events of the week. And covering the economic calendar as a whole, you can just find that by navigating to the home page of Tixee, and you can head over to the Education and Research tab, and you can just click on the economic calendar right here to find it. So, like we said, on Monday, the US stock market is going to be closed, but that doesn't mean that all the rest of the markets are going to be closed as well. So looking at the calendar, you're going to select next week for the timing to cover with regards to the events you're going to be looking at, and you want to change the importance from medium to high impact events. So looking at Monday, as we can see, obviously we don't have any major US event. In fact, we have none on Monday, but we're still going to be having the trade balance figure from Germany at 7 a.m., which is closely going to be followed by the inflation data from Switzerland as well as Turkey. Switzerland is going to be released at 7:30 a.m. UK time, while Turkey is going to be released at 8 a.m. UK time. This pretty much sums up the events for Monday. Then going on to Tuesday, we can see here we have the retail sales figures from Australia. It's going to be at 2:30 a.m. and which is then going to be followed 3 hours later. We're going to have the interest rate decision where the rates are expected to be hiked from the Reserve Bank of Australia. Looking towards the EU session, we'll be having the UK's global CIPS UK services figure being released at 9:30, and just prior to that we're also going to have the Eurozone's the equivalent figure. So it's pretty much going to be a half an hour difference between these two. We're going to also have a speech from the Bank of England Governor Bailey, which is going to be at 11 in the morning. And then towards the end of the day, we're going to be having yet another speech by another member from the Bank of England, but obviously the important one being the one from the governor himself. Then looking towards Wednesday, we're going to have the non-monetary policy meeting from the Eurozone, which is expected to bring about some decent volatility. You can see here, again, this is the tooltip that you can use across all of the events, as it can give you quite a good idea of what kind of volatility you can expect in the hours following the release of the report. We'll also have retail sales figures from Eurozone at 10 in the morning, and then towards early afternoon, and then the evening as well. So early afternoon, we're going to have some manufacturing job data, the initial job data from the US. And then towards the evening, the other all-important event of the week, which is going to be the FOMC meeting minutes. We're expected to get an update with regards to the interest rate cycle from the US. So definitely another important event to be aware of. Then looking towards Thursday, we're going to have trade balance figure from Australia this time at 2:30 a.m. And then early morning UK time, we're going to be having the unemployment data coming out of Switzerland. Then towards midday, we're going to have the monetary policy meeting from the ECB, which is then going to be followed by yet another trade balance figure, but this time it's going to be from the US and Canada, which are both going to be released at the same time, which is 1:30 UK time. And then slightly later, we're going to have some manufacturing data from Canada at 3, with the IV PMI being classed as the other high impact event. So you can see on Thursday alone, I'm going to be having 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 high impact events. So definitely one of the other important days of the week. And lastly, coming to Friday, so we're going to kick off and have towards midday a speech from the ECB's president, Christine Lagarde. And then, of course, heading into the most important event of the week, which is going to be the NFP report at 1:30. And don't forget that it's always being released at the same time as the unemployment rate from Canada. So, or the other way around if you want to put it that way, because the unemployment data is released at the same time as the NFP, which is the more important event. But we are getting employment data from both the US and Canada at the exact same time. So around about this time, I'd definitely be locked onto the charts if I had any positions open around about that time, or if I actually want to even trade the event itself. So yeah, it's going to be an action-packed week as expected, as it's usually the case with the NFP week. So I expect to see definitely a lot of opportunities with regards to the currency markets. And since we're on the economic calendar itself, let's also not forget we're going to be having the oil inventory report, which is going to be released at 4 p.m. UK time. It's obviously going to be released on Thursday, as like we said, we have the bank holiday in the US on Monday. So as usually the case is, when it's a holiday on Monday, then the oil inventory report is pushed forward by 1 day. So it's going to be released on Thursday on this occasion. But aside from the oil inventory report, I do expect the FOMC meeting minutes to also bring about some volatility with regards to oil prices, since the US dollar is closely going to be monitored as well. And not only that, also the same thing applies for gold prices, as it's even more closely associated with the dollar, given they also have the strong inverse correlation as well. So I wouldn't say it's just the oil inventory report, for example, that's expected to bring some action with regards to oil prices, but also have the FOMC meeting minutes. As we said, we have 5 other high impact events, but obviously looking at oil prices, we're going to be focusing on the US based events. And yeah, that's pretty much summing up the case for the economic calendar and oil and gold. And next up, we're going to be moving on to cryptocurrencies, which they had yet another interesting week, I would say. So we'll just pull up the chart for Bitcoin right now. So yeah, the past 3 weeks, as we can see, actually this is the monthly time frame, so let me switch to the weekly. So this week as well, it wasn't as much of a bloodbath as the last 2 weeks before that, I would say. Let me just remove the exponential moving average as well, just to clear it up a little bit. So yeah, zooming out, we can pretty much see the kind of steep drop that we've had all the way from the highs up here down, basically from 70k more or less, all the way down to now 19, just above 19,000. Now, if you were tuned in during the outlooks and lookbacks that we're having around about this time, which was like May, I'd say mid towards end of May, we're looking at prices towards like making either a stronger push to the upside and potentially retesting the levels here, and if not breaking lower, we said and we pointed out that we'd basically be looking towards this area as the first level of resistance, and we can see we're pretty much doing that exact thing right here. So we came about at this area here, and prices did reject, I wouldn't say super strongly, but they did make a significant rejection off of that level. But with that being said, we're still trading at that level, and it looks like we're about to break down again. Now, if I zoom in a little bit closely, you see the price action is a little similar to what we had happening right about June, which again was the other time we were covering cryptos, and that's when we said it's important to be patient, to let the market show you its hands before you take any early trades. And we basically were looking into either a breakdown, like we said, it down to this area, or making a breakout to the upside and back towards this level. Now the breakout came towards the downside, and ever since we pretty much traded lower and lower and down to these levels here. So what happened in June, as we can see here by the circled area, we reached this key structure level, which you can see it formed from this price action right here. And as we reached it, we did reject. So the natural assumption would have been, with this kind of candlestick at this level, you could expect prices to go higher. But of course, we didn't get that. And what we got instead was a very boring, I would say, 3-week consolidation phase where prices were just ranging in this little tight area here. And then we pretty much had the strong breakout and moved lower. Now we're pretty much getting something similar, in the sense that we did come down to the new level of structure, which is from these levels here. But on this occasion, again, we can see that we're pretty much ranging in a little area. So I could pretty much also, let me just put another line at the top of the range. So even the range itself, just eyeballing it, we can see that it's more or less of the same magnitude as this one here. So you have the tight range where we're consolidating. So again, we'll be patient on this occasion as well, and see whether prices will be breaking lower or further higher. Whatever the case may be, of course, we have the defined ranges that we can work off of. But of course, if we break lower, then the next area we'd be looking at would be down towards these levels, which is going to be like the next area of resistance. So it's going to be around about 13,000, between 13,500 and 12,500. So it will be more or less like $1,000 range. So yeah, I'm actually a little bit excited now for cryptocurrencies and Bitcoin specifically. Again, the reason being because we're going to be having, it looks like we're having a similar consolidation phase to the one right up here. So this could be an indication that another breakout is in the making, because obviously what always follows, not all, but usually what will follow the tight consolidation phase is going to be a strong expansive phase, because obviously the market cannot consolidate for the whole time. So after that is over, we can expect to see a pretty strong breakout. Again, whether that's going to be on the upside or the downside, we don't know yet. But like we said, we're going to wait for the market to show us its hand, and then we're going to take actions accordingly. And yeah, there you have it as far as the outlook for next week's markets. I hope you enjoyed the video and you found it useful, and I'll catch you in the next one. Until then, trade safe.